everybody. We're back. Citizens United with me, John Restaino, your host. Today is May 19th, which will go down in history as New York State's no mask day, I guess. Masks are no longer required. They're going to use the CDC's guidelines now. So whatever that means, whatever you do with it, I guess do what you got to do. But it's a new day. I mean, it'll go down in history because it was unprecedented things happening in New York State. So just wanted to remind everyone, check it out. Go online. You can read all about the new rules. Everyone is here with me tonight. Wade, of course, is behind the screen. Hey, Wade.
How you doing?
All right. Robin's here, sharing and doing what she does.
Hi, everyone.
And my co-host from Gold Gutters, John, is here tonight, too.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, John. John's back there. So today is 84 degrees.
Beautiful day out.
Yeah, wow. But sometimes it's just a little much. Like, it's always a punch in the face, I feel like.
Well, that's what, like I told you earlier, it goes from being, where you got to bundle up to go outside to where you need the air conditioner in
Right.
the window. There was no in between there.
Yes, it'll be 45, and now it's 84.
Yeah.
So here we are at 84 degrees, but I can't complain because when it's 4 degrees, then I'm miserable, too.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know, but
I'd rather have this than 40.
yeah, Gorillas
Yeah.
Inc. too in here in our beautiful studios is nicely cooled.
Yeah.
Feels good in here.
AC is
Yeah, yeah, it feels great.
central air. What do I mean AC?
Love it. Yeah. All right, so let's see. What do we got going on tonight? We got a lot going on tonight. It's a jam-packed show.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, before we get to our guest, I just want to remind everyone that June 22nd will be primary day. So, pay attention to all the different races that you can vote in. Joining me now is GOP candidate for Niagara County Legislator in the 11th District, and it's Kevin Alyong. Hey, Kevin.
Hello, everyone. Good day. And thank you for having me on here, Robin, and to you, John, and to Wade, and there's another John in the back.
Yeah,
right?
he's in the back. Yeah. He's back.
Okay, all right, John, right? And hello to all the folks out here, or as Joe Biden would say, all you folks out there in TV land listening on your radiograms and your record player.
Yeah, right. And everyone knows Kevin as Kevin in Pendleton too. I mean, long time, calling everywhere with his, been doing it forever, Kevin, right? I mean, you were doing that for a long time.
In other words, don't have a life, right? Yeah.
No,
Oh.
you're just, no,
Well,
you got to
honestly,
know. Yeah, go ahead.
I said to a famous Hall of Fame broadcaster a couple of weeks ago, I had lunch with him, and I said if I had genuine friends, and I'm pushing that out to you guys too, I blame you for this. If I had genuine friends, you'll put me through a 12-step recovery program, keep me away from radios and telephones, and then this wouldn't happen, right? Out of the office.
Right. Well, all right. Let's get to know you a little bit, Kevin. The first question I ask all the candidates that come on is, tell everybody who you are, your background, everything.
Yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead, Kevin.
Okay. I'm Kevin Alyong. Of course, I live here in Pendleton and here in Niagara County for the past almost like 20 years now, and a number of years, almost a decade before that, out there in Tampa, Florida. And when folks ask me why you moved from Tampa to Buffalo, I say, well, in the words of Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it, right? So yes, I do have a Western New York connection here,
Right.
with my wife and the rest of the extended family. If a diction in my accent, and I will make sure I speak slowly, but a diction in my accent, my formative years were spent in the Caribbean, Trinidad. So a little mixture of God bless the Queen, former British colony, now a republic for a long time, and of course picking up some of the Western New York jargon. This is what you have here, and so I have a very wide and colorful, when I say colorful, career with anything ranging from the biotech industry to fraud prevention. As a fraud prevention officer within the banking industry with a major bank at one time. So I know a BSer when I see one and hear one, especially in the politics, right?
Right.
So basically, this is who I am.
All right, Kevin. So let me ask you something, Kevin. Before I get into some real, some of your platform stuff that I read, I got to ask why. Why now? What caused this?
Why now? Yeah. Well, you know what? I think someone said it best to me about approximately 6, 7 years ago. They said normally it would take someone who may have worn uniform, served overseas, or even if they didn't serve in uniform overseas, or worked overseas, or lived or elsewhere, that or individuals like myself, of course, too, who, when living in the United States, you have a better appreciation more than individuals who were born right here and take it for granted. And I've had my experiences being in the Caribbean, where uh, most of the Caribbean islands, even though they're all democracies, they fed people like Raul Castro and the late Fidel Castro as the best thing since sliced bread. So the union movements are normally tied with socialistic type of tendencies, and I've lived through one terrifying week of Islamofascism, and all of this because individuals, our elected officials or elected employees, they put them in power, and they just, you know, keep their eyes off the road and off hands off the wheel, and stuff like that happens. So when you come into the United States and you ask the average individual here, hey, who is your state senator? Or you may even ask, hey, who is the lieutenant governor of New York? And they can't tell you that, but they can tell you what Kim Kardashian wore last week. Yeah. And it's frightening.
Yeah. No, Kevin, I agree. You're right, and we've been battling this for a long time. Forever. Yeah, no doubt, Wade. I mean, we've been battling this.
90% of the people are asleep. 4% of the people are sheep. 1% of the people own everything. The 5% here that are trying to wake everybody up, we haven't woke anybody up.
No,
the 90%.
Not yet. Kevin.
That's Malcolm X, by the way.
Oh, that's
happy birthday, Malcolm X.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Happy birthday to him. On No Mask Day here in New York State. What a day. It's all together. Kevin, I got to ask you. Go ahead.
Add to what you just said there.
Yeah, sure.
In relation to that. And this is nothing to do with Democrat or Republican, because you know what? I have Democrat relatives, who, and Republican relatives just as much, right? But the fact is that Lincoln said it best: a house divided cannot stand. And the more divided we are, this thing called DNC and RNC, when you put emphasis on that before your community, before your country, it's going to cause problems. A house divided cannot stand. And it's only the leaderships of our parties is where the problem is. And I hope some of my Democrat folks wake up and, address this. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, Kevin. We want to get to know you better as you get ready to take on, I think he's a 7-term Anthony Nemi. Right? That's your opponent. So, we're going to find out who you are, Kevin. And a lot of people know who you are anyways. But let's talk about one thing, and it's team. It's something that you have. I saw it, and I want you to tell us, what is team? What is that? I saw it on your platform.
Yep, team. And as a matter of fact, I am at the moment right now working on getting a second line on the ballot. I'm not just resting my laurels just because I'm on the ballot on the number 1 slot for the Republican line, and because I know what gives out here, right? Yeah. This year, and I'll touch shortly what team is all about. But it is these election years, the one between the general presidential and between the midterms, is there where you get the lackeys. This is the year that they normally, sweep in certain stuff and you don't pay attention to. And let me tell you something, folks. The folks who impact your lives more than anyone else, regardless of who sits in the Oval Office, are your state and your state and your county legislators. Yeah. They impact you more directly. But coming on to the question about team, yes, team, transparency, economic prosperity, accountability, and last but not least, mobilization.
Right.
And you know what? Without the first, the first and the third, the third saying here, which is transparency and accountability. Yeah. Forget about economic prosperity. Maybe economic prosperity for those who are maybe politically connected or insiders or,
Right.
those who have access. And right. So let me break it down for you. Transparency, definitely lacking in Niagara County. We have the third worst record as far as having open government. Third worst. And don't take credit. It's not Kevin saying this, right? This is from the state. Okay. And so when you have situations where in the way they operate, and we will touch on those things later on, your hiring practices, where individuals are also not given full disclosures. They're supposed to provide disclosures to show there's no conflict of interest, right? We don't have transparency here. Economic prosperity, hey, we can go on and on with that. But definitely, I can tell you for a fact, you know what? Who's economically prospering more than anyone else right now with this? Let's take the pandemic right now.
Right.
Which country's economy is existing right now, regardless of what, they're still being robust? China, right?
Right.
So which sector in our society hasn't really taken an impact as far as, look, they're still getting their paycheck every month, even though this is not supposed to be a full-time gig. And I'm speaking about the county level. Exactly. Right. Our elected county officials who got that pay raise just the other day, right? So economic prosperity, and more so within this environment, I am not going to show my hand, but I have an economics background also, right? But I am going, right? First thing when I get in there, having a lot, if it's God's will, and if it's your will, the voters, right? I'm going to initiate a step there to make sure that the economic impact of the COVID pandemic, right, is equitably shared by all. And that includes our elected employees. So that's where economic prosperity comes in. Accountability. We don't have no accountability when it comes to the recent hires, and I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more later with that, but in other ways in which we operate a county. And last but not least, mobilization. How many universities or colleges we have out here in Niagara County? You'll say about 3-4 major ones, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And the biggest hiring that they did, right, for 79 grand, which you and I have to pay for. You're going to tell me there wasn't anybody qualified to do that job? Mobilization of all our resources. Right here, we have skilled, qualified individuals. And you know what? When I did a interview just the other day, and the host, and in all fairness, he says, well, this information officer, compared to the other guy. I said, that's not the issue. What special skill he brings here that nobody else can do? What? Repair the photocopy machine? Give me a break.
Right.
I'll do that for 20 grand less.
Yeah. Right.
So, and you can find people just who can do it. Anyway, so that's what team is all about.
And we are with Kevin Alyong. He is running for the 11th District, Niagara County Legislature. Right now, GOP candidate, but is looking for other lines, or is going to get another line. Robin, if there's anything going on Facebook, let us know.
I sure will.
If there's any, you want to contact us, that's where to be. Well, you touched on it. Let's do it together. It's a crime family. We know that here in Niagara County.
It's a tough war going on right now.
Yeah.
It's real. War. The Capones versus the Dillingers, or let's keep it more modern, the Crips versus the Bloods.
Yeah.
The current regime, which was built by the former regime, which the head of that former regime is running candidates. And when I spoke to one of those candidates, I'm sorry if I run off here on you, but I'm going to just answer your question here in relation to the situation. If you don't know, and John, I'm quoting you, if one does not know the history of Niagara County politics, forget about casting a ballot, forget about running for office. Learn that. And you know what? It's the information is there, and you can see it, right?
Yeah.
And what is going on is that I spoke to one of those candidates, who's running, a new guy and everything, and I said, so what about this former elections commissioner, who had to disappear for a while, and now, hey, he's in a high office now. You know about that? And what about the disgraced ex-senator? Well, I've read some things. By the time you tell me you read some things, that tells me you either, one, don't know about it, or two, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, he gets the endorsement, and I'm sure he may be getting financial contributions from the $500,000 war chest still remaining from that same disgrace ex-senator.
Yeah, and we're talking about Senator Maziarz, of course. And now we have Henry Watazik, who I'm not going to go down. Here's what I want to ask you now. You're going to be on this. You're going to be on the legislature, and we're going to have guys like Glenn Aronow. We're going to have a Kevin Schuler, a Mark Parrish, Rochelle Pescari, and all the rest. There's even more. That's the funny thing. Who I'm forgetting names. But anyhow, how are you going to deal with that, Kevin? Because you're going to be right in there, and man. It just keeps going. It just happened the other day. With Rochelle Pescari. It just continues to happen. How are you going to deal with it, Kevin? Because I've heard you. Now you're going to be in there. Tell me, how are you going to do that?
Yeah. Okay. I'll first begin with, I want to say for the record, okay? You see, let's start with the Kevin Schuler situation here.
Okay.
Okay? My objective is not to fire Kevin Schuler. The people will decide his fate. But the first step here is to get representative of yourselves in the legislature to deal with it. And I have been given the suggestions. I've been given the ideas from people a lot more brighter than I am in how we're going to deal with it, right? And honestly, my objective is not to take the bread out of his children's mouths. Okay, he's a father. I'm sure he might be, and maybe Mr. Aronow too. Okay, but there are ways that this could be addressed. And I'm not going to make the mistake and play my hand. And I quote, someone who once sat in the Oval Office. You don't show your hand and say exactly what you're going to do, what you'll do. I know what I'm going to do. And I see, for example, a recent candidate, not a recent candidate, but one of the newcomers here running for office, right? Went ahead and, the best thing he could grab is relation to, gun legislation. And that's fine. Okay. Right? And hours before he presented his thing, the county came about with, we're going to have a citizens advisory committee for gun legislation. Hey, what about a citizens advisory committee for corruption?
Yeah.
How about that one?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we seem to have our priorities all mixed up. And by the way, I'm not anti-Second Amendment or anything like that, okay? So just for the record, for all the haters out there, that's not my objective. Right. But there are priorities in place. Yeah. We should be focusing on the real issues.
Well, let me ask you another question. You're right. Aronow, Schuler, Parrish, the list goes on and on and on. I guess there's nothing you can do about it now. It's already been done. I
wouldn't say no. No, don't say that, my brother. Don't say that, because guess what? They listen. These people have to look us, and I'm just saying us for now, but okay, start with me. Yeah. Look me in the eye and have to deal with me. But when they look at me, they're seeing hundreds and thousands of other individuals behind these eyelids, right? And my specs here. But, right, you are working for us, right? And another thing, too, when Kevin Schuler had his interview, listen to that interview, man. Get a breakdown of it. Well, I went before the legislator. You went before the legislator. Listen, you went before the legislator, right. Guess what? You haven't come before the people yet.
No,
okay?
Right.
And I'm not out here to shame you, right? I ain't Jesus. I ain't God. I can forgive you. But guess what? I'm going to put out that olive branch, Kevin Schuler. I'm going to put it out there, okay? And we find some sort of medium in this situation. But you know what? There's a saying that the higher one gets in office, the more they lose touch with people. And, you've heard of trickle-down economics, right?
Yes.
So trickle-down economics. Well, this is trickle-up social science and civics, in the sense that start from the foundation. I'm one level above an office that no longer exists. I think they call it the door catcher, right? I'm just one level above that. Right. And that's what it really is. I'm not doing this for the money. Hey, you know what this is? Oh, see, right?
Yeah, I see it.
No. You know what this is I have in my hand here?
It's a spatula?
It's a spatula. Yeah. Guess what? Like Sponge, what is you who are kids? SpongeBob, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay. Guess what? About a block away from Hawley, I can take a spatula and I can make $10 more an hour, okay? So it ain't for the money, right? It's for the futures of your children and their children's this is what we're working on here. And when you can blatantly do this and hire people, right, that will never get hired in sensitive areas where they are right now in the private sector, that means that you have insulted every decent constituent within the community. You've done that.
Yeah.
From sexual harassers, DUIs who driving our kids.
Right.
Come on. Buffalo, not hundreds of thousands, millions, billions. Buffalo billions, co-conspirator. And what's the other one?
Oh, well, go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, there's
so many.
I mean,
it reminds me of Rush. It reminds me of Perot. Remember he had that saying, that sucking sound? Well, it looks as though this is like these guys have hit a political iceberg, and they say, well, they're going to vote for us anyway. Over in the People's Republic of Erie County, they just vote D. Well, we do the opposite here, R, right? So guess what? They said they'll vote for us anyway, so let's just do it. So they know that it's only a matter of time before the other side comes back. And that's what we do. We don't change, we exchange.
Yeah.
Between the D's and the R's.
Right. And I'm with Kevin Alyong. He is running for the 11th District for the Niagara County Legislature. Now that we're talking corruption, here's something that I find, and I want you to weigh in on, the 4th District of Niagara Falls, where we have found a Republican who changed to working families, who is now on the ballot, and it's a whole, you know what? This story has all the corruption of every story that we just all rolled into one, because they are bold. They're bold, Kevin. They don't care. They don't care who sees. Right. I could go down the list. Pascari is running. Nicholas Pascari, his wife, who gets fired from the Lockport City Hall clerk for insubordination, gets rehired by the GOP to come in to be a confidential secretary of the public defender's office. Mario Gregory passes the guy's petitions, and he's in. Go ahead, Kevin. This is corruption at its highest level, because now you're messing with the district. You're messing with the people, the voter.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And again, correctly because of my accent, it's a hell of a thing. There's a former great radio talk show host, late radio talk show host. I think his name was John DeRemus. And he said, one of the saddest words in the English language is too late, right?
Yeah. And
what happens is that, okay, let's look at Pendleton, for example. Hey, look, because my district covers Pendleton, some parts of the city of Lockport, some parts of the town of Lockport. So in Pendleton, they're more concerned about, corruption. I can tell you that for a fact. But yet, in a way, it's like, hey, you know what? My garbage is picked up. Okay. And then I'm looking at the town of Lockport. Well, they got some issues in relation to assessments and stuff like that. And they mentioned some corruption going on there, which we could always deal with later on. But you know what? Hey, my streets are being, plowed during the winter. So, right? City of Lockport, hey, I mean, you know that the city of St. Catharines is twinned with another city. Is it Niagara Falls? The city of St. Catharines in Canada is twinned with Minnesota. Okay. The city of Minnesota, right? So, right. So to me, the issues that you have in Niagara Falls, the city of Niagara Falls, is like, they're twinned with the city of Lockport, because the folks in Lockport definitely concerned with the everyday survival like the rest of us. Okay? And you've had a guy there for how long? For 12, 16 plus years, and now he's saying, oh well, now that I'm working full time, I'm retired, I can do full time. And oh yeah, really? This gig wasn't meant to be a full time gig anyway. Right. That's why you got, mayors, you got, you got councils, you have individuals who can function. Just do your part. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, are you surprised though? I mean, see, I was shocked, and I thought I knew a lot of what goes on, but that 4th district situation, I had no idea you could run. I had no idea. And it seems to only be the legislature that you can do this in.
Well, but again, you see, John, if we had true representation, individuals, when you send them to office, listen, I get there. Your responsibility as a citizen doesn't begin with when you cast your ballot and doesn't end by, okay, hey, my candidate is here. He's going to represent, he or she will represent my best interest. Your responsibility still remains, you keep my feet to the fire. And if you had true representation, you would have seen where they may have snuck in this and made it legal, because this was something at the congressional level that you could have done. I mean, let's take, for example, NY27, Kathy Hochul. She's more Erie County to her bone marrow than us in Niagara County. But because of the G word, the gerrymandering, right, a great portion of the district is in Niagara County and the surrounding counties, right? So they've made, right up the laws, everything to make it that, you know, from the congressional level, that you have to move or buy a house or something, you know, within whenever the period that you win, right? So nobody knew, and it took you by surprise, and everyone else who was in the know, that you can also do this at this level, this step above dog catcher, which I'm running for, right? So therefore, this is what I mentioned: accountability and transparency, TEAM.
Right.
If you had representatives in here when they try to shuffle this kind of stuff in, then we could have nipped this in the bud. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm running.
Yeah. Well, we're with Kevin Alyong, and he is running for the 11th district for Niagara County Legislature. He'll be taking on in one primary Anthony Nemi, who's been there for a long time, 7 terms, whatever it is. That's a GOP primary, but hopefully Kevin is looking to get a different line. Kevin,
and by the way, that line I add is Team, my last name, Team Alyong, right? Okay. So this is Team Alyong. That's the line. And you know why? Because guess what?
Oh, no, okay.
Because of the gerrymandering and whatever, right? I'm asking my Democrat friends out here, well, how come you all never run anybody? And don't give me the normal BS about, well, you know, it's primarily Republican. Oh, no. Guess what? It used to be like 3-1 Republican to Democrat. It's now like 2-1 Democrat to Republican. And I tell you, that's why the sucking sound, they're doing this stuff where they don't care. They know that they feel that folks will just vote for them again because they're Republicans, right? So, but the sucking sound is this: the Democrats running everything now in New York State. Redistricting is going to come in. So these guys are trying to get everything they can out of, you know, and suck out everything as best as they can. This is my interpretation.
Yeah.
Because how can you do this? Hire individuals, you know, and tell me that there aren't other qualified individuals to do it? No.
No. Right. All right, Kevin. Here's what we're going to do. Before we wrap it up, I would like you, if you would, tell the voters, tell everybody, why are you a better choice for the 11th district? Why Kevin Alyong?
Well, just look at the voting record of the incumbent, and that will speak volumes for itself, because for the past half an hour, we've touched on just the tip of the iceberg into why he has not been a true representative for us. And as a matter of fact, I'll be lying if I didn't say he didn't do anything. It's his job. That's your job. So when you're cutting ribbons more than anything else and taking photo ops, that's your job. Show me where you went above and beyond the call of duty. The only way I see you going above and beyond the call of duty is being, being a lackey. Kind of rhymes with your last name, but that's why I would never mention his name. But being a lackey, he's not a leader. He's not a leader. He's a follower, and he just takes his marching orders and does that. And before we wrap up here, if you don't mind,
sure,
I want to say now, look, you have 100 and so many hits. What you up to now? 100 and something grand, 100,000.
Oh yeah, we're
views, right?
We're closing in on 200,000. Yep.
There you go. Right. So here's what, folks. Okay. Doing this is more than just talking points, more than just, bringing out stuff, okay? I am looking to get signatures so I can have that second line to represent Democrats who want to vote for me, Green Party, Libertarians, Republicans who are just so disgusted they stop voting, and others, okay? So I just give my contact information here. You can get onto my website, of course, which is Niagara District 11 Kevin I repeat that for you. That is going to be Niagara District 11 Kevin.org, not .com. And of course, you can also call me at 716-903-8435. That's 903-8435. And my email is Niagara11Kevin@gmail.com. I want to get all those signatures between now and Monday. You have 100,000 of you. Don't be just, like anybody could call the radio and say stuff, and but talk the talk, walk the walk. Okay, get some signatures for me. I'll drop off some petitions for you. Let's do this, because we can really do this before it really gets too late. And I really appreciate, again, you guys, stepping up to the plate and giving me that opportunity to speak to the good folks out here.
Well, thank you. We'll leave it there then. And Kevin, thank you. And good luck, man. We'll be talking.
All right. God bless.
Take care,
guys.
We're going to take a little break now for our sponsors. Yeah. Enjoy the sponsorships. Great commercials that Wade makes. We're back. And that was Kevin Alyong, who is running for the 11th district. He gave you the contact information. If you ever need it, you can email us too, or email. Send us a message on Facebook, wherever, and we can give you his contact information. You all know him as Kevin in Pendleton, and you can see he means what he says. I mean, that's certainly not somebody who doesn't mean what he says. You may not like what he says, but he means it. He believes it, and we need more of that. Why don't we do something real quick? We've got an update on the 4th District. Let's, the 4th District thing. Before we get into the candidates, because we have some video we're going to show of a couple candidates. I'll set that up for council. But the 4th District, if you don't know yet, that's a district that is 80% minority in Niagara Falls. Jeffrey Elder, who ran for mayor, had a strong candidacy there. He came out of nowhere. Is running against Owen Steed, two Democrats. Owen Steed's been there for like 10 years now. On the Democrat line, you've got Elder, who has the working families, and Steed somehow gets conservative. So I'm not going to make the whole story all over again. I probably said it 100 times. We get a guy from Lockport named Nicholas Pascari, who is running for. You put it any way you want. I mean, he's running to be legislator. That's why he's there. Tell me why he isn't. I want to know why. Someone tell me we can't get a hold of him. I saw the news tried. Why is he doing it? He's doing it to win. He wants to be legislator of the 4th District for some reason. I'm going to play dumb. Okay, there it is. That's what he wants to do. Maybe he saw everything that's going on in Niagara Falls, all the murders and everything else, and he was compelled. He was so compelled to change his party affiliation in February from Republican to Working Families Party. I mean, that's incredible. If that's the case, we need him. We need him everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. No, think about that. He'd be willing to move into the 4th District and do whatever he's got to do.
Let's get him on the show.
He won't.
Story.
I know.
I mean, wouldn't you wanna
Oh yeah, I know, because it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. Love it.
That'd be awesome.
So there he.
Not the case. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, right. It might not be. Well, so we got all that going on. And there he is. And of course, we know his petitions were passed by a Republican. I can't remember these guys' names anymore. Gregory, yeah, his last name is Mario Gregory. He passes the petitions. They get signed. We all know Nicholas's wife gets fired for insubordination from the Lockport City Hall. I mean, there might be appeals, whatever. But if the GOP swoops in and gives her a nice job. Gregory's a part of the office that she has a job in, so that's great. And by the way, Owen Steed voted yes to giving her that job, too. That's an interesting thing, so that he comes out of nowhere. But I saw the Gazette picked up on it, and they were able to get some quotes that we would never be able to get. So there's one interesting one. They were, I guess from what I was reading, they were pressing Steed as to what's going on here. Do you know this guy? Do you whatever? And he just said, I don't know the guy. And this is the quote that really is something. I don't know who's even running. What? What are you talking about? Yes, you do. You know who's running. What do you mean you don't know who's running? But anyways, they pressed him. That was his answer. Jeffrey Elder says, we aren't sure who's behind it. Well, I'm going to give him some help right now. I know who's behind it. We know who's behind it. I mean, I don't know. What do we got to do here? It's the Niagara County Republicans through the mayor of Niagara Falls, probably with an assist from Henry and the whole deal. We know who's behind it. So that's who's behind it. Question is answered. And then we had, and I have to go with Renee Kimball, she was that district's legislator before Steed was, and she said it, and I have to agree with her. She's right. It is voter suppression. It's messed up. I mean, you're basically just trying to fix an election. You're trying to maybe give Elder a hard time. I don't know what it is you're trying to do, because in the beginning, I gave it the fact that I think maybe he's just a great man. He's had enough. He's sitting there in probably a nice district in Lockport and decides, look at that. Look what's going on there. He probably saw the march for victims, and he probably wept. And he probably thought, oh, my God, this is very sad. I can't take this anymore. And he rushed out. Actually, no, he did it before. He did it in February. So then it just probably, I don't know why he didn't join us, at the thing. But so I'm sure Pascari was very moved as to try to get in there. So I don't know. Do you think? Do you think there's a movement? Maybe. What do you think?
Maybe we could build a statue for him.
Yeah.
He's going to come in and save the hood.
Save everyone. He's going to save us all.
That's the thing, too. If I'm not mistaken, that district was drawn up specifically for minority representation.
Right.
So, I mean...
Because in city council, you see we don't have districts in the representation. Generally, you know what it is. So, yes, they did that. And because if you didn't, you know what would happen. So, it's just, this is disgusting. It has to be. And, Elder calls on Steed to denounce this going on. I call on Steed to do that too, but he won't. He just says he doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't even know who's running against him. And
which calls into question his credibility mentally to hold the office
if he doesn't know.
Even know who's running against them.
Right. And
They know.
Yeah, no, they know. He knows what's going on. He knows. He voted yes. He voted yes for Nicholas Pascari's wife to get that job in the legislature. So, okay, he did that. I'm going to say that Pascari's he wants to do well. He wants to do good. He's very moved. He's coming in to help the 4th District. But you're calling on Steed. I'm calling on everybody. I would think both Republicans and Democrats that aren't a part of this ruse or whatever you want to call it should be calling on everything that this is garbage. All of them, every one of them, from the mayor to the 3 Republicans on the council, all of them. But there's silence from both sides, really. Don't you guys see? There's silence. I mean, of course, Elder's going to say something. It's happening to him. But have you heard any other Democrat come out and say anything? Not a word. No Republican says anything. Not a word.
Even the ones that, like, Elder's taking pictures alongside.
Yeah.
Nate McMurray, I don't see him speaking up.
Yeah, why isn't Nate McMurray talking?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, I think
Pascari
Pascari...
to be taking a picture with.
Yeah, where is it there, that guy?
He?
He's a fraud. That's
Yes,
where he is.
he
He's a
is.
big fraud. Nate McMurray's a fraud. And then you're going to have... Well, Pascari, I mean... Geez, Nate McMurray should go and shake his hand and say, thank you. You're what a lovely man. You're going to leave your beautiful home. And I'm not saying anything about the 4th District. There's beautiful homes in the 4th District. There's a lot of good things in the 4th District. Let's not just paint it as some kind of, Wild West. There's beautiful things. There is. I've seen them. There's a ton. Whatever. But he's going to pick up and move 25 miles away because he was so he got really emotional. I'm speaking for Pascari because Pascari wouldn't do the interview. He can't be interviewed. So if I'm him, that's what I would say. You know what? I just was moved. I couldn't take it no more. I saw Gorillas Inc. And it really shocked, and I know they didn't set up the protest. They didn't. They were just invited to go. And they live streamed it and I watched and I was just so moved that I had to do something. And this is what I did. And God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pascari. Thank your wife. Thank everyone. But no, I don't know what else to say about this because it's so ridiculous that it shouldn't even. And you know what's even more ridiculous is people that have contacted me, others, telling me it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Don't worry about it. There's bigger things to worry about than this. Man, I hope he wins.
Right.
I will do anything. Mr. Pascari, if you're out there, get a hold of me. I will do whatever it takes to help you win. Yeah. You can win it all. I want you to win the 4th District, and I want to see where we're going to go. What do you think? Does he move in? If he won, what would happen? The district, honestly, though, 6 votes, 5 votes, whatever, that might get him the working families line. I mean, there's not many. Mm-hmm. So he'll be on the general. He'll be on. It's disgusting, and people think it's okay. You can't even shake anyone, Wade. You can't even shake anyone and be like, this can't be right. Mm-hmm. No?
It just leaves you, speechless almost.
Yeah.
Like, what else do we do? What else do we say? What else can we say?
No, I know. It's like when we...
How obvious can it be to people?
Oh, and it's all rolled into one, this story.
Yeah.
Like everything. From what me and Kevin were talking about with the hirings. We got that in there. You've got Laura Allen somewhere in the mix. You got everybody doing everything. Laura Allen, we don't hear another word about her. No. That just went away with her nonsense because the Democrat doing just what, as we said, they're both the same. The Democrat leader, whatever his name is from Lockport, he came out and said what a beautiful woman she is. Yeah. So he didn't care either.
And this will go away too if he wins, and
yeah,
it'll be all forgotten a year from now.
Yes, all forgotten, but it'll happen. Dems will do it. They'll do it. If they're in charge, they're doing the same things Republicans are doing.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to be any different.
Really scummy.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything different. So,
if they were the people who were truly fighting for what they say they're fighting for, then they would have spoken up when all the third parties got destroyed.
Yeah. No, they loved it.
They loved it, both sides.
They're happy they got to keep conservatives and working families because they play them as they're just games. Yeah. Like this. This is
the only parties to not run their own candidate.
Right, isn't that great? Yeah. And that says it all. Yeah. And they don't even hide it. They don't hide this stuff anymore. I don't know if they ever did, but they really don't. I mean, let's think about what's gone on real quick, and then we're going to get to another story. You got Nick D'Angelo running around. He's got 4 counts of heinous rape charges, plus 1 on a minor. He gets ROR'd. He's enjoying summer. He's also still in the mix doing stuff. It isn't like he's...
Right, not to mention the 30-some...
Other women, that are just waiting.
Waiting.
Cosby-like numbers, like you said. Yeah. So then you got him, right? There's a scandal in itself, the fact that he was ROR'd. Let's add into the fact that you had a march. You had people that were victims' families so upset because there's no empathy, they had to take to the street to go to the mayor's house and want some kind of empathy. They didn't get it. Not a word has been said since, right? Nothing.
Yeah, the
Not a
mayor
word.
still doesn't give a
Nope.
fuck.
And neither does the council, except Kennedy. He did say something on
Yes,
our
on
one,
our message board.
message board. That was nice. Thoughts and prayers went out, and that's good. It'd be nice if we could do more than that, but that's fine. At least it's a good step. So you have those things. You have Laura Allen's nonsense that you heard live. You heard right on. You had a recording of it. You
And it
heard
feels
her
like
words.
It's already a year ago.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I mean? It's only been 2 weeks.
She's going to be
Making a
yeah.
hair from it again, about it again.
No, she's going to be allowed to play out this term. That's what he said. Why would we do that? He said it was going to be the guy. I wish I could remember his name for the Jacoby. I don't. Yeah, he says it's going to be a disservice to Niagara County if Laura Allen got removed today.
Well,
Wow, what kind of disservice would that? I don't understand. But okay, once again, more corruption. There they are. There's 3. And you know what's sad is sitting here, I didn't have this figured out in my head because I didn't think about it. But there's even more that all the hirings we discussed, OTB. I mean, it's just all here.
oh yeah.
And and sadly, I got to say, there's people that are running for things that aren't saying anything either, and especially in the city of Niagara Falls. If you are running for city council, if you're the mayor, if you're anything involved, you should be. If you're the head of both parties in the city, of Republican and Democrat Party in Niagara Falls, you should be very upset that someone from Lockport could come in and do this. Mm-hmm. Silence, though. Nothing said. So here's what we're going to do now. You know what? I can't say anymore. It was like when me and John talked about the Sabres. Mm-hmm. You just get tired. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to stop, but, there comes a point where I don't want to bore the audience anymore because I don't know what else to say.
It's
Complicity is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Along with, instead of empathy, apathy.
Right.
We have a lot of that.
Yeah,
a lot of
we've got
apathy.
A hell of a lot of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess I'm done with that. I'm not at least for today. I mean,
then you go into this case where you don't see the guy.
Oh, here he is. That's Ottaviano.
That's Ottaviano.
Running against.
Have you seen any signs in Niagara Falls yet?
Not many.
I think I've seen 2.
I've seen a couple.
I see like 10 over in Deval.
Yeah,
okay.
so there. Well, yeah. Well, you would imagine. Ottaviano is going against Benedict for county judge. Ottaviano has never selected a jury, from what I understand. He's never been involved in that stuff. That's what people are saying. I get that from.
There's no criminal.
No.
Being a lawyer, right?
No, and it does, and there's a lot of misspellings on there. Like they misspelled president on there. There, I think Peppermint. There's a whole bunch of misspellings on here, so I don't know who did this thing.
Whoever wrote for him the letter we got that we seen the last time.
Yeah.
There was a headline of why you should vote for him, and it stated like of his accomplishments, and apparently in some magazine he got like the who's who of the lawyers. Isn't it?
That's prestigious.
Yeah.
The who's who of lawyers in Western New York.
Is he any different than Is really?
That made me laugh.
Yeah, no, that's fun. Is he any different than Pascari though? In a lot of ways. I mean, really. I mean, maybe he's doing a little more, but is he any different? Mm-hmm. He seems to be just there. Mm-hmm. If you have not, I don't. Maybe you win without Niagara Falls. Maybe you can. I don't know. How much do you need in Niagara Falls to win? If you got to get all of Lockport and everywhere else. How do you do it? I mean, how do you win this county seat without any? What are you going to get out of Niagara Falls? You need 30%? Do you need 30? I don't know. It's an answer. I don't know.
Like 9,000 people voting in Niagara Falls.
Yeah. So what are you going to get? Yeah. I mean, so I'm just saying is he?
48,000.
He's better. Yeah, he's better than Pascari, probably a step above, but it's kind of similar because he's just been there. If he's starting now, it's May 18th. The election's June 19th. It's June 22nd is the election. Has he had a fundraiser here in the Falls? No. Has he done any interviews? I haven't heard any. Nothing. And for me, if I'm Benedict or their campaign, I would. What the hell? Right. Sit back and relax. Mm-hmm. Enjoy yourself. There's no need to keep on. You're a winner. He's gonna win.
Yeah.
If this guy doesn't do something a little bit, he's got to come out and do something. And
wasn't it his turn, Benedict?
No, I think it was Ottaviano's turn to run. There was something with that. I think someone else wanted to run that might have been a little more ready for the judgeship. Well, you could say it's Benedict's turn. I mean, it's possible because look what happened with the Zajac thing. I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
That's
she,
what I
but
mean.
maybe. I mean,
He
that's
goes
kind of
away quietly. So
yeah.
now
That's
he
a
gets,
theory, but I can't really. That's just a theory. We're not going to. I'm not going to say that's the truth. That's our theory. That's a theory. Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. But then they run this guy, and it makes me feel. It just it just makes me not feel good about it. But either way, the best man to win, unfortunately, when we can't hear from Ottaviano, or fortunately, would be the other guy. We had him on here. He seemed pretty good. I mean, I think he'd be a conscientious person, judge. He seemed to have that empathy word we talk about that you look for. And we don't know about Ottaviano, and we may never know. All right, so next up, here's what we want to do. I got to thank Tom Christie and the Civics Project because I stole these from him on his YouTube account. And here's what we're going to do. And Wade will up in a second. We've got, you can tell me if I'm wrong, guys, on Facebook, wherever, but I'm pretty sure we only have 6 people running for 3 seats. We got Colin Ligamari, Tracy Bax, David Zajac, Jim Perry, Dante Miles, James Abundanza. We got 3 Dems. Tracy Bax and Zajac are GOP, and I believe Jim Perry's an independent. So now Tom did a little thing where he gave them a couple minutes to pretty much state why they're there, why they're running. And I think we should listen to them, and then we will critique them when they're done. And we'll do it one right after another.
Yeah, sure. You got the headphones?
No, I need them. Yeah, guys, put on your headphones so you can listen because you haven't heard before. Oh, and I'm not hearing anything.
This year, I'm pretty sure it's your first run for office ever. So what made you decide to do that?
Yes, brand new. Never aspired to politics before, and here we are. So I grew up here. I grew up here in Niagara Falls, and I grew up with the legends of past. Right, I grew up with the stories of when Niagara Falls was a beautiful and thriving place to live and work. And unfortunately, I've never seen that. So the Niagara Falls that we have today is the Niagara Falls that I've seen for 41 years. And I didn't know why, and I need to know how we move back to that model, how we start moving the city back in that direction. I have a unique perspective of having moved away for a long time, about 12 years. And I've lived all over the country and I've lived outside of the country, and I got to see how other cities are living and thriving. And I always wondered, why not home? We have this amazing asset. We have this beautiful waterfall that they know about in Beijing, China. But here our city is still falling apart. Like, we can't seem to get it back to the thriving place that it used to be. So my decision to run for city council was born out of that, of trying to get our city back on the map as the most wonderful place to live.
Right. Now, the decision to run and the decision to serve, if you're successful, are 2 wildly different things. What kind of experience do you think you bring to the council?
So I bring a small business perspective. So when my family and I moved back here, I decided to start buying and renovating homes. It's what I'm passionate about. I love old homes. I love old architecture. So I actually started in the city of Buffalo, and I bought a home. I took the time to renovate it, to learn about it. And then I wanted to work closer to home. At the time I had a 3-year-old, so it was hard to be, that far away for that many hours while I was working on a house. So I bought a house in Niagara Falls and I renovated it. And I now use that house in the short-term rental industry. So that moved me into spearheading tourism. And with the tourists that come through my home, I get to send them to the places in the city that I think are needed. So I get to use the tourists that come in. They ask me, hey, where should we eat? Where should we go? Obviously, they're going to go to the park. They're going to see the falls. But then after that, they need to know where they should spend their money and their time. So I get to guide them to our local businesses, our local restaurants, our local merchants. And this just ended up being something that I was very passionate about. So I'm hoping that I bring that experience to the city council to bring that perspective of small business, community driven. Yes, that's my hope.
Colin Ligamari, candidate for Niagara Falls City Council. Thanks for doing this for us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, there's Colin Ligamari. Real quick, because we got other ones to get to, got 3 more. She flips houses, right? That's what she does. She's a house flipper. She flips houses. And she's involved in these short-term rentals, which was a hot topic in the falls during the summer of last year, caused a big deal. There was a whole big, there was a lot of anger over short-term, what the mayor had planned for short-term rentals. So if I had to say this real quick, she's got one issue candidate, right? Wouldn't you say one issue? That's about it. It's short-term rentals. Like Kevin said, and he quoted me, which was nice of Kevin. If you don't know the history, don't bother. Right. You got to know the history, not the history of what someone told you it was like in 1950, because that's just nonsense. Know the history of what is going on and why it is the way it is. Otherwise, you're just going to do it. You're just going to do it yourself. And I hate to say, because it just appears to be only interested in short-term rentals. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It doesn't sound like anything.
No.
We need.
Said nothing about the situations with the
murders.
All that. How the city has the decline is so it's crazy. And it's beyond just a decline of business and all this tourism. Yeah, no doubt. That's the industry now. But there's also something that's happening that is pretty devastating to quite a number of people in the city that's just not even being talked about. Let's move on to Tracy Bax.
Okay, Tracy Bax, candidate for Niagara Falls City Council 2021. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Tracy, what single or multiple things made you run this year? Why did you decide to run for council this year?
So, it's interesting, Tom. I am a resident of the city, grew up in Niagara Falls, went to school here, was married here, raised my family here. And I think that this is just a really important time now to run for city council. So it's an important year. There's 3 seats that are available. And in my professional career, I've been connected to the tourism industry for over 30 years. I have a passion for tourism. I love the city. I see a lot of opportunity, and I thought this was a great time to step up and throw my hat in the ring and represent our citizens and our residents here in the area.
Great. What if you do win, or even along the campaign trail? What do you think you bring to the council as what you could do?
So, I'm running because I know I can apply my experience in a couple of things here. So again, during the course of my 30 years in the tourism industry, I'm very skilled in tourism management, in business operations, strategic planning, business development. And I say all of that because these are the things that I think a leader needs to bring to the city to help with economic growth. And I can get into that in just a few minutes. But those are the reasons, and those are the special skills that I know I can bring to this area.
Right. Tracy, thanks for doing this.
Okay.
All right.
My response would be just like Christy was. Right.
Right. All right. So let me say something positive about Tracy Bax real quick.
Okay.
I think she was at least energetic and looked as though she wanted to be there. Unlike the last person who seemed like it was a bother, like Christy just knocked on her door and said, "Hey, let's do something." She at least was energetic and showed like happy to be here. Go ahead.
Right. I find the citizens of Niagara Falls to be suspiciously lacking in everyone's answers.
Yes. So far, we have 2. They've not mentioned citizens. They've all mentioned tourism, which all ends up going back to Albany usually because they all sit in that down at Goat Island.
Yeah,
and
they all go to Goat Island.
So Tracy Bax and Colin have not mentioned anything about tax relief for the citizens, fee relief for the citizens, like with garbage thing, murder, feeling safe in your city. We haven't heard a word about that. I did hear Tracy Bax one time, either she repeated what the mayor said, or the mayor repeated what she said about lighting up downtown like Las Vegas. And I don't know what the hell that means. Because we can just put up like wooden, like at Fantasy Island. It'll be like, remember when they used to do the Wild West thing? So I guess we would just have fake buildings and, hey, look, we're lit up. But
light up the casino, which does nothing for
light
us.
up the casino. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. All right, you know what? Let's move on because I think our next one is Jim Perry, who we did have on before, but let's.
No, the next one is
Zajac. Okay, good. We'll go with David Zajac.
David Zajac, you're running for City Council in Niagara Falls. Welcome. Thanks for doing this.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So what made you want to run for City Council in Niagara Falls?
Being a lifelong resident, and I didn't get to see the glory years as my grandparents would tell me about. But even the years growing up when, I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, the city was doing fine. And over the past probably 5 or so years, I've seen it go to a place where, people are scared to go outside. There's not really much to do for the residents or outside of the tourist district. And I think this year's election has a lot of implications going forward. With no incumbent seeking re-election, we're going to be electing 3 brand new council members. And they're really going to have a big say in the future of the city, even in their first term of 4 years. And then going beyond that, just recently the city was awarded almost $60 million from the stimulus relief package. And these 3 new council members are going to have direct access to that as the legislative body for the city. And also in their first term, they're going to be dealing with, the new compact with the Seneca Nation and the state. And also, city contracts that are going to come due. And I just feel like it's important that we give the citizens a choice and hope that they can look past, party lines and look at the candidates that really have ideas for the city and that really care and want to see the city, progress to a more positive state than we're in right now.
Great. So if elected or your campaign, what makes you so special, so to speak? What gives you the talents? What talents do you bring to the table?
Right. Personally, I think it's a two-pronged thing for me when I think of it in that aspect. Like I said, being born and raised in the city, me and my 4 siblings were raised in the back of a family-owned business, Zajac Funeral Home. It's operated over on the east side of the falls. Actually, this month will be its 72nd year in business over there. And, we're going to the 3rd generation of ownership with my older twin brothers running it. And growing up, we were always raised by my dad's motto was business before pleasure. And I think we need people that are willing to go out there and work for the city and want to see it get better, and not just sit back and kind of expect things to get better. And then from past experiences, I've ran a campaign before, a lot smaller sample size in a citywide race. But getting out there and hearing the people's concerns and sharing almost 99% of them is kind of what I think propels me to be one of the candidates for this office. And then, just being able to take those past experiences and those relationships I built with the citizens I met in those campaigns is what I'm looking forward to doing more aggressively in this campaign and, of course, on a citywide basis.
David, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, once again, strike 3. No talk really of everyone's like waxing poetic. Like they're having this. We love the past. The past they didn't see. The past their parents told them about their grandparents. Guess what? I was born in 71. I grew up in the 80s, the 90s. And it was going downhill then. Mm-hmm. Just all I had to do was listen to my own father. Right. Things were not going in the right direction. I can remember hearing it. So no, the 80s and 90s were not. Things were in motion already as to where we were going. Obviously we lost manufacturing in the 90s at some point due to the NAFTA stuff. And, a lot of that left. We had a point where we had Oxy Chemical, right? Hooker Chemical. And it was huge. It would be like its own little city. Yeah.
And I'm sure Reaganomics hit hard here.
Hit hard, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that plus NAFTA, bang. We're gone. We got nothing left.
I grew up in the 70s,
right.
So I know a lot about the 70s. There's like tons and tons of stuff going on.
Right.
It was like areas like a miniature New York City. Was never sleeping. There's stuff to do.
Main Street was good then. Was happening.
Over West New York. It was hustling.
Right, and then the 80s come, and then the 90s,
and
come.
And then corporate, it becomes corporate America,
right?
During Reaganomics. sorry to say Republican friends, but that's just the truth.
And I'm sorry to say to Democrat friends, because then Clinton comes and puts the
exactly.
hammer down, because they were the same people that decided to say, let's have everything built over there, and you go to, and that would be great. I remember when Clinton said this to these poor guys that are in their 50s, working at like a steel mill or whatever, saying, go to community college. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you know, that was so ridiculous. Go to community college. So here's Zajac. He ran in the district that Tim Heather's running in now, and all that. It was Dennis Virtuoso's. He said nothing. I'm sorry. There was nothing said there that is for anyone to feel any good about. I'm glad he's got a beautiful. I know the business is great. That's good. Huh? But I certainly have not heard yet anything. Yet out of these three, we got Mr. Perry. We did talk to him before. This will be interesting. Let's see what he's got to say.
Jim Perry, candidate for Niagara Falls City Council 2021. Thanks for doing this today.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Jim, what made you decide to run for City Council in Niagara Falls this year?
Well, it has been a process. I just didn't all of a sudden wake up one day and decide I want to run for City Council. You have to kind of understand the journey that I took to get here. I retired from the private sector in 2015, and then I was asked to help at the water board, Niagara Falls Water Board, because they had an impasse with the negotiations, and being an HR manager and working with the USW for quite a number of years, I decided to take it on. And when I got there, I looked around. It was supposed to be come in, settle a contract, and then go off into the sunset. But there were so many issues going on, I decided to stay on. And the more I got into the Niagara Falls Water Board, I also saw issues with the city itself. And I've always thought that Niagara Falls should be an international city. It should be it should be a lot more than it is, because even in the military, if I went somewhere, matter of fact, the vacation I just went on, you say Niagara Falls, everybody knows where Niagara Falls is. Everybody knows what Niagara Falls is. But when you come to the city and you look around, it's not really the world-class city it should be. And I saw reasons for that as I worked with the Niagara Falls Water Board and the city of Niagara Falls. And I thought I could do something. So it's either do something about it or you leave it. And I'm not the type of person to sit back and not do something. So.
Right. So throughout the campaign, we'll learn much more about you. But what do you think you bring to the council as a councilman should you win?
Well, I've had a lot of experience I have a degree in international commerce from Niagara University. I've been a certified senior HR professional for more than 10 years, actually more like 20 years. But and I have the leadership skills that I've learned through the years, being an HR manager and a director of administrative services that I could bring. And I've traveled quite extensively over the years, so I have ideas of what we should be, and I believe in representing the people, representing the city, representing the people that elected me. So I bring those qualities, plus I'm not the type of person to say that's my way or the highway. I can work with other people, and you need to work with people in order to get things done. You can't just go in guns blazing and beating people up and decide this is what we're going to do. So bringing all those disciplines together, I think I can make a positive impact for the city and for the people of Niagara Falls.
All right. Yeah, I mean, let me think how to word this here.
I'll tell you what he's not bringing: excitement.
Well, I will say this. Yeah, here, I'll give you a little rundown. Just real quick, I think the only one that brought any energy was Bax.
Yeah.
She brought energy, at least. I'm not even going to talk about what they're saying, because they all said the same thing. Do you guys realize Niagara Falls is two separate cities? You have the area that's down, where the tourists would be. Tourists should not be coming down to Independence Avenue. I should not have tourists, really. Maybe they drive down to go to the factory outlet mall. I mean, I know some people like to go to malls, when they're on vacation. Okay, fine. But at no point should they usually aren't going to be interacting in our neighborhoods. Sure, they could go to some of our local restaurants, of course, but chances are, I've been away. We've gone on vacation. Everyone's gone somewhere, maybe with your kids, whatever. And I think of Virginia Beach. I went to Virginia Beach. We stayed on the beach. We did everything around the beach. I didn't go into their neighborhoods. The closest thing I did was when we went dolphin watching, and it was weird. We kind of went out in the spot that it was odd because I wasn't in the tourist area. So we're two separate cities. Neither one of these people, all four, said a word about the residents. Right? I didn't hear it. Not one word. Everyone's bringing a tourism background. Every single one of them. It's funny because they all did these at separate times. All different times, different dates, whatever. And they all said the same thing, pretty much. They all said about how it's a wonder of the world kind of thing. They all said about how, Jim Perry didn't say this, but the other three talked about how it was the grand old times way back when their grandparents were around and whatever.
I think we got to synchronize them up.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, we could have. That'd have been fun. Yeah, we definitely could have. But I mean, how do you run for anything in the city and not discuss what the thing is? What that's hurting residents. Here it is. Fees and taxes, obviously, and security and fear and victims. Basically, that's your big thing. I think that's what's hurting residents. It's fees and taxes, of course, because they're killing us, and they'll kill you with the fee, the water bill, the whole deal, the garbage. Yep. And then it's your security.
And you don't fix tourism in my mind, and I would assume that Pine Street should be a good tourism spot for you, but with the population getting more and more, homeless population getting more and more, if you don't fix that problem, you don't fix the business issue.
Yeah, you're right. And then no one's ever done that in the Falls. No one's ever cared. It's always been non-profit. It's always been like community missions or somebody, but they can only do so much. And now there's some money coming, by the way. I didn't write this up, but there's the governor is giving some money to try to fix Main Street, I saw. There's some buildings that they're going to renovate. There's some things that are going to happen, so that's good. Let's hope it works out for the best. But I didn't, and now there was two other candidates. All the candidates were asked to do this. Dante Miles and James Abendanza did not do it. I don't know why, but they did not. They did not participate in this. Whatever. Okay. I mean, that either tells you they think they got it in the bag or whatever, or I don't know what it tells you, but, we did not hear from them, which is unfortunate because I give at least the other four the credit to even do it. I mean, to at least show up. Mm-hmm. I mean, the other two couldn't even show up. So when you can't show up, I mean, what are you doing? You can't show up? You only can go on the Vincenello show and talk there? I mean, you can't show up? What, because what's Tom going to get you?
Right.
I mean, it was all for them. It was basically for them to, because they're never coming here. I'm not getting one of these people to come on this show. They're not. So, I mean, no, Mr. Perry did. And that was good. We had a good time. I was able to ask him questions that I thought were more resident heavy than tourist heavy. Because tourist seems easy to me. We get 9 million, I can't remember the number, throughout the whole year coming through Niagara Falls. It's obvious what we need to have happen. We need to keep them at our local businesses, right? We need to put them in our hotels so we get that bed tax that's a shame that we can't raise. And, I mean, is it really right? Do I really need these people? I mean, I would rather have somebody come in that would say, you do have two cities here. You do. You just do. You have that area down there, and then you have everything else. Yeah. And just to neglect everything else is what I heard in these four. I heard neglect. Yeah. And but it's the same as the people that have been there. Right. It's been neglect. Mm-hmm. Just by looking how they voted or what's happened here. So.
And you wonder how they can do that when it's the citizens that elect them, not the tourists, but yet their only focus is on the tourists.
Yeah, and the citizens will elect this. Mm-hmm. They will elect something here. And, it's just like I said about the mayor's race way back then. I mean, it was, all right, we hate the governor. My God, Governor Cuomo's got to go. He's got to go. And they elect the guy who's Cuomo's candidate. Yeah. as he did not hide it either.
No.
So no one hides it anymore. So you can see if you open your eyes. And I'd love to know. I bet you Mr. Perry knows. Matter of fact, I'm going to say he knows. I think he knows. He's got to know because he was in the middle of a lot of nonsense over there at the water board as a whistleblower. So but the other two, do they know? They don't know they don't know it. They don't know the history. They just don't know. They don't know. So once again, it's one of those things. I do want to thank the Civics Project for doing this and Tom Christie for doing it. I just take it off of YouTube. So I mean, I say it's courtesy of them because they're the ones that did it, and I thank them for that because otherwise I would never get it. We would never have that, and we're just gonna we're gonna be doing these types of things more often. We'll just react to the other interviews since we don't seem to get them. And guess what? They know where we are. I think it's their choice to either come or not to come. So there's not much time before this election, June 22nd, to come. And my advice to all of them would be start thinking about the resident and start thinking about the crime that is going on in the city. Start thinking about the 22 people murdered and their families. Start thinking about that. Because you can have a management degree in tourism. You could be a short-term rental person. You can do all this stuff, man. You can have it all. And I'll be honest with you, Zajac shocked me that he did not. Because of the bunch, he has the family business. He's lived down there. I mean, it's not like I'm surprised he didn't have anything to say about the residents of the city. Yeah. To forget that is really a mistake. And we'll see. We haven't heard from Abundanza or Miles. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. And so that's it, folks. Let's wrap this up. Let's do what we normally do. Let's start with John. John, what have we learned today?
A lot of interesting stuff from Kevin, and I got more information than I thought I would ever get today from a guy that lived in Tampa.
Right.
Moving to Niagara County, so.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of from Trinidad. Yeah. Robin, what'd you learn today? If there's anything you didn't already know, but let you go ahead.
Great interview with Kevin. I thought he was very open about why he was doing what he was doing and what exactly he wanted to do. Again, shout out to Tom Christie for doing these interviews with the council people. It is nice to be able to compare and contrast them. Unfortunately, it was like one person.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Giving the same speech in different clothes.
Right. Wade, what you learn today?
I learned that Republicans and Democrats think they are, I didn't learn it today.
Yeah,
I just noticed it more and more today is Democrats and Republicans, these people that are running, they don't see the big picture and they don't see who's controlling what's happening in many ways. So they don't realize they're the same people.
I know.
And it's just disheartening.
Sad, yeah.
It's really, is there a fix to really get them to understand? Because they'll agree with us one moment, and but the next day it didn't change their mind any.
No.
So part of me is sad and it's like, what the fuck is the point? But at the same time, you can't stop.
Yeah, no, you never stop.
You gotta just keep on trying to drill it in people's heads.
I know. I just don't know why. And here, I'll say what I learned today, and then I'll go to the numbers, and then I have a special announcement after the numbers. What I learned today is something that I've already known. I know that I think Kevin would be he would be good. You would want a Kevin in your legislative body. You really would. He's the type of guy you would want because I've heard him for so many years, and he's running the same way I've heard him. That's what I wanted to see. Was he going to change? And he didn't. He's the type of guy you'd want to be anyone's representative anywhere. He would talk, if he was running for city council in Niagara Falls, it would be a different story. You see how he comes out He comes out with some fire. Mr. Perry says, "Oh, you're going to go in there and it's your way or the highway." No, but you got to come in with something,
Right,
energy, and have something that made you do it. Not just because I like short-term rentals. I remember way back when. It's bullshit. Come on, have something.
You're running for something. You should be prepared for that.
And Kevin has that because he knows. So that's what I've learned, that we're in a desperate state. It's kind of a state of emergency here in Niagara County after all the stuff that we've talked about tonight, and we're just looking at young people that are younger than me. Some are my age that are just like deer in headlights and don't know. So, whatever, man. Let's go on to our numbers as we do every end of the show. If you are currently or ever were sexually abused as a child, as an adult, it's currently happening to you. It happened in the past. Please call 433-6714. That is the YWCA, the Niagara region. 433-6714. They have counselors standing by that will counsel you from home. You don't even have to go anywhere. Advocates that will bring you to the police station, the hospital, court, whatever it is. They're there to help you all the way through, and it's 24/7. So really, if you're dealing with those kind of things, reach out to them. They're great. I've seen them in action. They're unbelievable. Also, if you're a family member of somebody who's been hurt like that, reach out to them too. 433-6714. They're good to make you understand what they're going through, so you can understand why. Geez, in your mind it seems weird, but not in their mind, because they've been hurt and they've been holding on to that for years. So you can't look at it the way you might want to. So please check them out. Go to them. 433-6714. All right. Also, suicide, depression, even anger, all of that, anxiety. 1-800-662-4357 is a hotline to call 24/7. They're there for you. Counselors standing by. They're there to help you through depression, through suicidal thoughts, anything that would go through your mind. Like I said, anger, anxieties, panic. Give them a call, 1-800-662-4357. You are not alone as long as you can get to that number and call. So please don't ever think you are alone. All right, special announcement. Not a big deal, but I won't be here next week. My good friend Wade here, buddy, partner, will be taking over.
Filling in. I feel honored.
Oh, you didn't? No, you'll do great because you're good at this, and he'll be filling in. I myself am going in for some surgical repairs, so I hope to be back by Goal Getters on the following Friday or whatever. We'll see how long it takes, but it won't matter because the show must go on, and Wade Van Valkenburg, my buddy, will be taking over.
And I'm confident you're going to be fine, just like you should be. Yes. So we'll be seeing John the very next week.
I hope so. I want to. Definitely. I'll be working hard to do that. But anyways, thank you, everyone, for paying attention to us. And it's Gorillas Inc. But, hey, hold on before we go. New shows are starting. The draw's actually going to...
coming on this weekend.
What, on Saturday?
Saturday at 8 p.m.
Saturday at 8 p.m. We've been waiting, and wait till you guys see the local talent from all over Western New York. Yes. It's awesome. It's fun. It's a great show. The host, give me his name. Why am I forgetting? Adam Foster is really good. Yeah. He's a good host. Great musician too.
So yeah, he's going to get you some great bands coming up in the future as well.
They're going to be coming here. Mm-hmm. We're going to have it's going to be good. Then, my guy, Skylar, what is it? Say the whole thing right. Marvel.
Skylar's Marvel Madness. Where this kid can tell you, if you want to call in, he'll tell you anything about any question you have on Marvel.
Yeah.
He knows everything from Spider-Man to the bad guy you've never heard of before.
And Skylar is somebody that you saw on Gorillas Inc. before with the puppets. Mm-hmm. He is one of the funniest, best guys I've seen. He's a kid too, in front of the camera. He's outstanding. He's a natural and he has no fear. It's great. I love it. No fear at all. Watch our shows. Goal Getters is going to be off this week because that's the day I'm getting surgically repaired. But we'll be back. One way or another, we'll be back that Friday. I don't know how, John. We'll be back. You might be sitting here, but we'll be back. But anyhow. All right, everybody. I know we ran over, so good night.